Welcome to the Homeschool High School podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I'm Vicki, and I am here all by myself today to talk about how to get teens interested in health. As you know, most teens are going to need a health credit for their transcript. They need that for graduation. And yay, it's theoretically something that is good for life preparation. They need to know about health, but a lot of times it just seems so boring. So we want to talk about how to get them inspired, both to earn the credit, but also maybe have a healthy lifestyle. Okay. All right. So let's start with the credit part. So some teens will only need a half a credit for graduation. Some will need a full credit. And so you can check with your local, whoever's supervising. So, their individual goals or your state graduation requirements, whatever umbrella school, if you're part of that, and see what they want, half credit or whole credit. I kind of lean toward the whole credit thing because health is a good life preparation thing. They've got to be able to manage body and soul for the rest of their lives, right? So if we can get them inspired to invest in themselves and actually be interested in who they are, then maybe they'll go on and have a healthier adulthood younger rather than waiting till later to discover how to be healthy. So all right, so let's start. We want to talk about first a curriculum. So if they've got to have the credit, sometimes there are some courses that it's just nice to use a curriculum with. There's other ways to earn credits, but one way to do it is to do a curriculum. So, as I've mentioned often in other places, um, our teens years ago would complain about a lot of textbooks. It seemed like, in your traditional textbook, everything has to be standardized, including the number of pages in a chapter. Have you ever noticed that? So if every chapter has to be 15 pages long, even if there's only 5 pages of material, they've got to stretch it out for 15. And so there's a lot of busy work in a lot of text. So, we had opinionated teens, and in our co-op and umbrella school, we're teaching those subjects. They were opinionated teens too, and they would say, why do we have to read all these things if they give us the information, in the middle of the chapter? So what we have done then at Seven Sisters Homeschool is to develop a health curriculum that teaches what the teens need to know for the scope and sequence for health, and to actually look at it in a holistic way and no busy work. So if there are 3 pages of material on, urinary tract health, they only need to read 3 pages. And and to learn then applicable, how do they apply health in that part of the body to life itself? So um, also what we have done in the Seven Sisters curriculum, and this is meaningful, I think, to a lot of us, is that God made us a whole person. So each of us, our spirit, soul, body, social, like we're whole beings. And so health shouldn't be just our physical body walking around. What are our muscles doing? That's part of it, but also what are our emotional states, like how does our brain itself work, and how does that make us who we are, and how do we take care of our soul in that kind of way? So thinking about emotions and mental health and all in a way that is uplifting, and that is just, to me, so important. How to have good friends, like to develop the social wholeness in a person. So in Seven Sisters curriculum for health, we have the physiology of health, but also the emotionalness of health. So body, soul, and because it's written from a Christian worldview, integrated in is spiritual health, never preachy. Part of Seven Sisters philosophy is we don't preach at kids. Teenagers do not need to be preached at. And so it's a gentle, integrated kind of viewpoint. Oh, also, sidetrack. For those of you guys who are in states that reimburse for curriculum, you have a set of requirements if you want to get reimbursed for your curriculum expenditures, that the curriculum has to meet these requirements, right? And so for those of you guys who are in reimbursing states, we have a version of it's high school health for the whole person is the name of the curriculum. And then for those in the reimbursing states, it's high school health for the whole person for states that reimburse, and it's got a little red star on the cover of so that you know it's the reimbursable version that meets state requirements. So, all right, so sidetracked on that. Um, and so anyway, what our teens then have been doing as they go through the text is they will explore, you cover what you got to cover, you learn things you need to learn, but when something catches their interest, there are ways to level up by exploring things that are meaningful to them. And so they can develop health plans, and they can develop ideas for physical health or emotional health, extra things to read or projects to do. And so those are suggested right in the curriculum, and it helps them to feel like they're in charge of their education. They can become the person that God has made them to be. Kind of gives them a little ownership on a higher powered credit, or just a more interesting credit. So, okay. All right. So that covers the credit end. So one way to get teens interested in health is to get them a curriculum for the health credit that is more interesting. And so, shameless plug, I believe in Seven Sisters curriculum. So we'll put links in the show notes so that you'll be able to find that easily. All right. But then, health is not just a curriculum. Health is a lifestyle. So how do you get teens interested in health as a way of being? Like it's not just a curriculum. You read through a text and then you move on. You'd like to actually live a healthy kind of lifestyle, right? And so you want to sit down and talk with your teens about a holistic way of looking at their health. It's a great discussion topic. Spirit, soul, body, social. What does health look like for them? And where do they want to go? What do they want to become? So having a discussion, making it why don't we chit chat while we drive in the car? Or why don't we have a one-on-one, which I highly recommend. It's just periodically just have one-on-one, go out for coffee. Sabrina always suggests having food. Like teens tend to talk better if they're eating something. So, sit down and chat and talk about what does a holistic version of health look like for them. And no preaching, just kind of discussion. All right. Another really, really powerful thing you can do to get teens interested in health is kind of model what you can yourself. So, to model a healthy spirituality, to model a soul growth orientation. So, learning things yourself, working on your own, like emotional health, how to be more oriented toward fruit of the spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, meekness, self-control. That those things are spirit and soul, connected, because God made us whole beings. It's all connected. And to model, what physical health can look like in this space in life, like if you've got a bunch of different kids, if you're working in homeschooling, you may not have time to be the fitness queen, but you might have time to do a minimum effective dose of self-care, maybe some daily deep breathing, or, a 5-minute workout or something like that. And so to model that for your kids as a lifestyle, because health is very often more caught than taught, just like our spiritual kind of growth is. Our teens catch a lot, and they do that more than they're actually taught. All right. And then, what do we do for social health? When we're busy parents and we're trying to keep track of transcripts and planning next year and everything, what does healthy social development look like for us? And to have something that we are modeling for our teens. So spirit, soul, body, social, like how are we walking the walk for our teens? And if we're walking the walk, they are way more likely to just catch it, without us lecturing, right? Another way to get teens interested in health is to kind of get them around some role models if you can. So sometimes taking a class, to have a fitness class or a martial arts class, things like that. If they have a teacher that is interesting, that seems caring about the students in the class, that can be a real inspiration to get interested in physical health. If there's youth leaders who are great role models, that helps with spiritual growth. So you think, like in a holistic way, what kind of IRL people can we bring across our young people's paths so that they can be inspired and, okay, I get really good ideas from this person. Sometimes you don't have access to everything, and sometimes a digital influencer is way more interesting to our young people because, most of them are digital immigrants, right? And so I'm going to put some links to some of the digital fitness kind of people that some of our homeschoolers have told us that they really enjoy. I know one of them, and I'll just, name drop here because our, seven sister Sarah, her sons created the curriculum that we have at Seven Sisters on fitness. So there's 2 fitness texts. And they also have accompanying workout videos that, how you develop a workout plan that's healthy. So I'll put links to some of the workouts that they do that they have on YouTube. So it's called Trio Fitness OCR. So there's some of the things that they do, or Trio Fit Life is a website that they work on. So I'll put those in the show notes, and some other links that we could go on and on about that the teens tell us that they really like. So it's sometimes the digital role models can inspire our teens in a way that we certainly can't, and sometimes even more than their IRL people because of where they are in life. So that's fine. So what you got is you got role modeling in one form or the other, and a decent textbook. And as they try things out themselves, give it a try. A lot of things teens will go like, well, I tried that once and I'm not doing it again. But sometimes they're going to find something that they genuinely love, and it becomes a way of life and interest to them. And so anytime you can get out as a family and do things, which is our last, suggestion. Can you do some family healthy activities? Like go for picnics and have decent food, that healthy food options here. To model a healthy church environment, and to do field trips as a family that include some kind of activity. So going on hikes and doing some, like nature observations, or going on a history field trip and count your steps, while you're at it. So that for those of the kids who have a watch that will count steps for them, yay, or their cell phone, whatever will count their steps, and get them interested in, wow, today we got in, 5,000 steps, or we got 10,000 steps, or 300 steps on this one. And so it turns it into a little bit more of a game, when you do things together. So you kind of get a benefit of 2 things. You get a little movement, the joy of feeling healthy, but also logging some hours towards a different kind of credit at the same time too. So living a kind of healthy lifestyle together. So, all right. Well, that is what I have to offer. And I wonder what kind of things you all have done to get your teens interested in health. So I'd love it if you would visit us at the Seven Sisters Homeschool Facebook group. So that's the number 7 Sisters Homeschool, all squished into one word. So, visit us there on the Facebook group, or the Seven Sisters Homeschool Facebook page, or the Homeschool High School Podcast Facebook page. Visit us there, Share with us what you have been doing to get your teens interested in health, because God made us to be stewards, right? And stewards of ourselves, and giving teens the tools and the inspiration to go on and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. How cool is that, right? All right. So this has been the Homeschool High School podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. Thank you, Seth Tillman, for editing, and thank you all for listening. And we'd love also if you visit us at the Facebook group. We'd like to hear ideas for what you would like to hear a podcast episode on. So send those over our way over on the Facebook group. Okay. All right. Well, God bless you all this week. We'll see you next week.